Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the midday news. The headlines. Prime Minister visits COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing facility in Ahmedabad and Hyderabad. Prime Minister to visit Serum Institute in Pune this evening to take stock of production of corona vaccine Covishield. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 93.68%. In Jammu and Kashmir, voting is over for the first phase of District Development Council elections and Panchayat by-polls. And in cricket, India to take on Australia in the second one-day international in Sydney tomorrow. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 3-city visit today to personally review the COVID-19 vaccine development and manufacturing process. On the first leg of his visit, the Prime Minister reached Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad this morning. He visited Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals vaccine development facility to personally review the vaccine development and manufacturing process. Mr. Modi held discussions with the scientists and vaccine developers. AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that the Zydus Biotech Park is working on ZyCoV-D, a COVID-19 vaccine candidate. He is located in Changodar area of Ahmedabad. Here is more from our correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi was welcomed by Pankaj Patel, the chairman, and Sarvil Patel, managing director of Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals, on his arrival at the Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad. During the half-an-hour meeting, Prime Minister Modi discussed the process of vaccine development, its trials and distribution. Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals vaccine development facility at Zydus Biotech Park is working on ZyCoV-D, a COVID-19 vaccine candidate. Zydus Cadila is expected to submit the results of its phase 2 trials next week, which will ascertain the safety, dose and efficacy of the potential vaccine. It will also apply for phase 3 clinical trials of its experimental COVID-19 vaccine in December. The company is expected to roll out the final product by March next year after the success of all trials. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
After his visit to the Zydus Biotech Park, Mr. Modi said in a tweet that he complimented the team behind this effort for their work. He said the government is actively working with them to support them in this journey. From Ahmedabad, the Prime Minister flew to Hyderabad and arrived at the Air Force Station at Hakimpet. He was welcomed by State Chief Secretary Somesh Kumar, State DGP Mahinder Reddy, Medchal Malkajgiri Collector Shweta Mohanty, among other senior officials. Our Hyderabad correspondent reports that the Prime Minister reached Bharat Biotech International Limited in the Genome Valley, located near Sharimpet on the outskirts of Hyderabad. The Prime Minister met with the scientists and discussed with them about the roadmap of the vaccine production and supply. More from our correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the Bharat Biotech International Limited, located at the Genome Valley on the outskirts of Hyderabad, and reviewing the development and manufacturing process relating to COVID-19 vaccine. He is interacting with the senior scientists and other concerned at the BBIL and being briefed about the progress made so far relating to manufacturing of the Covaxin. It may be recalled that the BBIL has taken up the manufacturing of the vaccine in collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research. The SARS-CoV-2 strain for the indigenous COVID-19 vaccine candidate was isolated in the Pune-based ICMR National Institute of Virology and transferred to BBIL. Currently, the phase 3 clinical trials of the Covaxin are underway by involving over 25,000 volunteers in 22 states across the country. He will be leaving for Pune later this afternoon. Lakshmi, AR News, Hyderabad.
Later, the Prime Minister is expected to fly to Pune to visit the Serum Institute to get a first-hand perspective of the production of corona vaccine Covishield. Our Pune correspondent reports that Mr. Modi will discuss with the concerned officials about the overall supply and distribution system after the successful testing of this vaccine. According to the schedule, after the arrival at Lohegaon Airport, the Prime Minister will be flown directly to the Serum Institute by a special helicopter and will be at the institute for about an hour. The Prime Minister will then leave for New Delhi from Lohegaon Airport. It may be noted that the Phase 1 clinical trial of Zydus Cadila's vaccine candidate, ZyCoV-D, is over and the pharma company has commenced Phase 2 clinical trials from August. Bharat Biotech's Covaxin is undergoing Phase 3 trials. Covishield vaccine is currently in the final stage of clinical human trials. The Serum Institute of India has partnered with UK's Oxford University and British-Swedish pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca in the manufacture and distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine candidate Covishield in India.
Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is leading the efforts being made in the country like a supreme commander in the fight against COVID-19. In a tweet, Dr. Vardhan said that today the Prime Minister's visit to Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune to review the vaccine's development and manufacturing process reflect how serious he is about the epidemic. India and the United Kingdom have reiterated the shared desire to impart a quantum jump to the partnership in the post-COVID, post-Brexit era. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's telephonic conversation with his British counterpart Boris Johnson yesterday, the two leaders exchanged thoughts about the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The two leaders reviewed the promising cooperation between India and the UK in the area of vaccine development and manufacturing.
Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla has said the COVID pandemic has brought the need for more secure and reliable supply chains to the fore. He said there is a global recognition of the need to diversify supply chains and design them to be more resilient to disruptions like the current pandemic. He was speaking at the Indo-German 1.5-track Dialogue 2020 yesterday. The Foreign Secretary said this is an opportunity to make India an active manufacturing hub placed at the heart of global value chains. This is the vision of the Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India campaign. He noted that India has simplified labour laws, instituted landmark reforms in the agriculture sector and launched production-linked incentive schemes to attract investment in various sectors. India has also liberalized and incentivized the small and medium enterprises sector. He said India looks forward to further enhancing partnership with Germany's Mittelstand ecosystem in this context. He added that there is a great potential for collaboration between India and Germany in the area of digitalization, startups, innovation, and new and emerging technologies. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 93.68% as a total of 41,452 patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. According to the Health Ministry, the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 87,59,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 4.87% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 4,54,940. During the past 24 hours, 41,322 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases to over 93,51,000. The ministry said that effective implementation of the strategic and graded test, track and treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.46%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 485 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,36,200. According to Indian Council of Medical Research, over 11,57,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has gone up to over 13 crore 82 lakh.
The number of COVID tests per million population in India has crossed the 1 lakh mark. The Health Ministry has said that very high levels of testing lead to early identification, prompt isolation and effective treatment of COVID-19 cases. The central government and ICMR have scaled up the testing infrastructure in a calibrated manner. Over 11,31,000 COVID samples were tested in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached 13 crore 70 lakh. Telangana state reported 753 fresh COVID cases during the past 24 hours. With this, the total COVID cases reported in the state has gone up to 2,68,418. The state conducted nearly 42,000 tests yesterday. The recovery rate marginally improved to 95.49%, with 952 more people recovering yesterday. This took the number of recovered people so far in the state to 2,56,330. Meanwhile, the daily bulletin issued by the State Medical and Health Department this morning stated that total 1,451 deaths reported so far, following 3 more people succumbing during the past 24 hours. Currently, the state has over 10,000 active cases, out of which over 8,000 are in home isolation.
In Mizoram, 18 fresh COVID cases were reported in the past 24 hours. With this, the total number of cases rose to 3,806. The recovery rate has improved to 88.88%. According to the State Medical Bulletin, the state has reported 15 cases of recovery in the past 24 hours. So far, 3,367 infected people have recovered, and the number of active cases presently stands at 434. Medical colleges in Himachal Pradesh will reopen from the 1st of December after remaining shut for over 8 months due to the coronavirus pandemic. The teaching in medical colleges of the state was suspended in March to check the spread of infection. Health Secretary Amitabh Awasthi said students would have to bring coronavirus negative report before attending the classes. He said a prior written consent of the parents have also been made mandatory for the students. The Health Secretary said a 3-member central team is currently on a visit to Himachal Pradesh to take stock of the situation arisen due to the recent spurt in coronavirus cases.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring a special discussion on COVID-19. This can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Senior physician Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, Dr. A.K. Varshni, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free number 1-800-11-5767. I repeat, 1-800-11-5767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444. I repeat, 011-2331-4444, and post queries on a Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on a YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister visits COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing facility in Ahmedabad and Hyderabad. Prime Minister to visit Serum Institute in Pune this evening to take stock of production of corona vaccine Covishield. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 93.68%. In Jammu and Kashmir, voting is over for the first phase of District Development Council elections and Panchayat by-polls. And in cricket, India to take on Australia in the second One-Day International in Sydney tomorrow. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, voting for the first phase of the first ever District Development Council DDC elections and the Panchayat by-elections was over by 2 p.m. today. The elections will be conducted in 8 phases. Elaborate arrangements were put in place to ensure smooth conduct of polls. We go live to Srinagar, where our correspondent Sunil Kaul is covering the elections. Sunil, how was the voting in Srinagar?
Anuja, the voting in Srinagar and elsewhere in Kashmir Valley was carried out in a smooth manner. The voters were seen quite enthusiastic in exercising their right to franchise.
Were old people and women, did they come to vote?
Yes, Anuja, old people and women came out to cast their vote. They turned up in large numbers today at their respective polling stations in spite of the cold climatic conditions in the valley.
And was COVID-appropriate behavior maintained?
Undoubtedly, Anuja, the COVID-appropriate behavior was fully maintained at each and every polling station in Kashmir. The voters as well as the polling staff used face masks and fully adhered to COVID-19 guidelines in an effort to keep at bay the evil effects of coronavirus pandemic.
Thank you, Sunil, for the latest update. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that large number of people have come out to cast their votes during the first phase of District Development Council elections. Long queues have been seen despite severe cold conditions in Kashmir Division and hilly areas of Jammu Division. The historic elections being held for the first time for elective representatives to the DDCs leading to local government has gone well with the people, and they are coming out in large numbers. People are energized to exercise their right to franchise. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy and discussed the situation in the wake of cyclone Nivar and heavy rainfall in parts of the state. The Prime Minister expressed condolence on the loss of lives and prayed for a quick recovery of the injured. An ex-gratia of 2 lakh rupees each would be given to the next of kin of the persons deceased and 50,000 rupees each to the injured from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. In a statement last night, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister said that the Prime Minister has assured all possible help to the state.
The government has said that over 310 lakh tons of paddy has been procured during the Kharif marketing season, an increase of 18.78% over last year. Agriculture Ministry said paddy procurement is continuing smoothly in the procuring states and union territories of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Maharashtra. Out of the total purchase, Punjab alone has contributed over 202 lakh tons, which is 65.24% of the total procurement. The ministry said more than 28,45,000 farmers have already benefited from the procurement operations with minimum support price value of 58,644 crore rupees. The Tamil Nadu government has also announced compensation packages for the losses suffered due to Cyclone Nivar. Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy in a statement last night said that 4 people lost their lives due to the cyclone. He said the families will be given a solatium of 10 lakh rupees each in addition to compensation for cattle killed in the cyclone and financial aid for the huts in proportion to the damages. For the crop loss, the Chief Minister assured that the compensation will be given after the assessment of the damages. In the state electricity distribution network, 108 transformers and 2,927 poles were destroyed. They have been replaced to restore power supply in the affected areas.
Central Bureau of Investigation today raided around 40 premises across 4 states, including 25 in West Bengal, as part of an investigation into a coal mafia case. It is in West Bengal that Anup Majhi, the alleged kingpin of the illegal operation, is based, sources said. The home and offices of the suspect, who lives in Asansol, are being searched along with those of his associates. Official sources said that the searches are spread across West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh. The agency has registered cases against officials, including those of its Eastern Coalfields Limited, Railways and private persons. In West Bengal, besides Asansol and other spots, searches are on in Durgapur, Raniganj in Burdwan district and Bishnupur in the South 24 Parganas district. Mr. Majhi, also known as Lala, allegedly runs an operation in open-cast coal mines along the Bengal-Jharkhand border. The Income Tax Department was investigating him and had served notices on him earlier this month. The Enforcement Directorate has provisionally attached properties totaling to around 28 crore rupees of former IAS officer Babulal Agarwal under the provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 PMLA. The cases are related to criminal misconduct and cheating by a public servant. The attached assets include plant and machinery, balances in bank accounts and immovable properties of Agarwal and his family members. The ED initiated investigations on the basis of FIR registered by Anti-Corruption Bureau Chhattisgarh under Sections of Prevention of Corrupt Act 1988, which discloses the disproportionate assets amassed by him and his family members. The accused was arrested by Enforcement Directorate on the 9th of this month and is in judicial custody till the 5th of December.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa held a meeting with members of Parliament from Karnataka and Bangalore yesterday to discuss the progress of projects being implemented with central assistance. During the meeting, the Chief Minister announced that he will meet members of Parliament once every 2 months to ensure better coordination and to achieve faster progress in development works. Seeking the support from MP LAD Fund, the Chief Minister asked them to work for getting more central grants for the development work in the state. The members of Parliament listed out the development works that need the attention of the state government. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has said that the coalition partners of the ruling Maha Vikas Aghadi in Maharashtra will fight all elections together, including the Mumbai civic polls. Speaking to newsmen yesterday in Mumbai on completion of 1 year of the MVA government, Thackeray said that his government is stable and said though the alliance partners are perceived to be ideologically different, but the parties are bound together for the interests of the state and the people.
A number of political leaders from Maharashtra, including Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, State Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar, among others, paid homage to social reformer Mahatma Jyotiba Phule on his 130th death anniversary today. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said in a tweet that Mahatma Phule was a great social reformer who fought for the rights of women and the downtrodden. Paying rich tributes to Mahatma Phule, Ajit Pawar said he was a great revolutionary who empowered the masses to live with dignity by emphasizing the importance of education. He said Phule brought an ideological social revolution for taking the society out of the bondage of ignorance, superstition, untouchability, caste and religious discrimination. The mortal remains of martyred army Jawan from Maharashtra, Yash Deshmukh, was consigned to flames today afternoon with state honours. Deshmukh lost his life on the 26th of November in an ambush with 3 terrorists in broad daylight in a busy area of Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. More from our correspondent.
Martyr Yash Deshmukh's body was brought to Pimpalgaon village in Chalisgaon Taluka of Jalgaon district from Nasik today morning, after which the entire village gathered to pay last respect to the son of the soil who lost his precious life protecting the motherland. Yash was just 21 years old and had joined the army a year back. The villagers, with the support from a local NGO, created a special platform for his funeral, which was decorated with flower arrangements and rangoli. Besides, various patriotic messages were also written all over the place as a homage to the martyred soul. State Agriculture Minister Dada Saheb Bhuse, Guardian Minister Gulab Rao Patil, along with local MP and MLA were present at the state funeral. With PTC Rajesh Yawalkar, Devupriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It will be the 71st episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR DD News, PMO and Information Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. In Uttar Pradesh, preparations for the upcoming visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to his parliamentary constituency, Varanasi, on Monday are in full swing. Prime Minister will take part in the Dev Deepavali program and address a public meeting there. Dev Deepavali is a function held after Deepavali when a large number of lamps are lit on the banks of rivers and other places on the occasion of Kartik Purnima. Dev Deepavali of Kashi, Ayodhya and Chitrakoot have their own importance in the state. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited Varanasi yesterday to review the preparedness.
In cricket, India will take on Australia in the second one-day international in Sydney tomorrow. The team has returned to action after staying away from international cricket for more than 8 months due to COVID-19 pandemic. During its 2-month stay down under, India is scheduled to play 3 ODIs, 3 T20s and 4 tests. Here is a report from our sports desk.
When India meets Australia in one-day encounters, it is one of the most fiercely contested battles. In their first international match in 9 months, Team India did not look like a top side. It was not a good start for Virat Kohli-led Indian team in Australia as they went down to the hosts by 66 runs to go 1-0 down in 3-match ODI series. While the Indian team did well with the bat, reaching 308 for 8 in 50, despite going 101 for 4 at one stage, the bowling and fielding efforts left the team disappointed. Indian pacers were punished by Aaron Finch and Steve Smith, and dropped catches and missed fields did not help the visitors either. The target of 375 proved to be too much for India to chase down despite solid batting conditions. Hopefully in the second ODI tomorrow, India will strengthen its weaker areas, bowl a little fuller for an early breakthrough and try to beat the Aussies in their own arena. Hardik Pandya may be used as a bowler too to tame the Aussie batting lineup. The second ODI will be played tomorrow in Sydney and the final ODI will be played on 2nd December. With M. Ravi Kumar, Tripti Srivastav, Sports Desk.
Chief Economic Advisor K.V. Subramanian has said that India's gross domestic product GDP estimates of the second quarter of 2020-21 is quite encouraging in comparison to the first quarter. Talking to media persons in New Delhi yesterday, Mr. Subramanian said manufacturing has recorded a positive growth of 0.6% and utility has grown by 4.4% and agriculture grew by 3.4% in the second quarter. Mr. Subramanian said that the broad recovery is underway. India's GDP contracted by 7.5% in the second quarter from July to September of 2020-21. According to the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, gross value added GVA came in at -7%. Some sectors have bounced back with the resumption of economic activities. The electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services have shown a growth of 4.4%. It said agriculture, forestry and fishing sector at 3.4% and manufacturing sector showed a marginal growth of 0.6%. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval called on the Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in Colombo yesterday. Mr. Doval conveyed greetings from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and observed the progress in bilateral cooperation between the two nations. National Security Advisor is visiting Colombo to participate in the 4th NSA-level trilateral meeting of India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives on maritime and security cooperation.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital will have mainly clear sky with temperatures varying between 11 and 25 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have clear sky and the temperature will vary between 20 and 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky and temperature will hover between 19 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is likely to have partly cloudy sky and temperature will vary between 19 and 28 degrees Celsius. Jammu witnessed a minimum temperature of 9 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 25 degrees. City will have a mainly clear sky in the morning which may become partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Srinagar will also have mainly clear sky and may become partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature will hover between -2 degrees Celsius and 13 degrees. In Leh, there will be mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening and temperature will vary between -10 degrees Celsius and 3 degrees. Gilgit will have a partly cloudy sky with temperature varying between -1 degree Celsius to 16 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky and temperature will vary between 5 to 17 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 9 and 26 degrees Celsius. The sky will be mainly clear. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. Temperature in the city will hover between 9 and 25 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, temperature will vary between 17 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees. The city will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Ahmedabad will have clear sky. Temperature will vary between 15 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees. Patna will experience mainly clear sky and the temperature will hover between 12 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister visits COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing facility in Ahmedabad and Hyderabad. Prime Minister to visit Serum Institute in Pune this evening to take stock of production of corona vaccine Covishield. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 93.68%. In Jammu and Kashmir, voting is over for first phase of District Development Council elections and Panchayat by polls. And in cricket, India to take on Australia in the second one-day international in Sydney tomorrow. And with that, we end the midday news.